Internet world, and welcome back to our channel, Accelerate. It's our new version of Audi Sport Mic since we've changed it from moving away from Audi and reviewing everything. Today I bring to you the 2020 Volkswagen Arteon. So we borrowed this 2020 Arteon from the fine guys over at Dalmar Motors right here in London, Ontario, Canada. All right, so the Arteon has great visual appeal, but what else does it bring? It brings utility, it brings style, and it brings a market that is almost no longer there, and that is the four-door sedan market that is in the CD segment, which is basically the A7, the E-Class, the cars that are expensive that don't sell. Volkswagen, why? All right, so what an Arteon is it's essentially the brand new CC right here in North America. However, Europeans, this is the car for you. It makes 268 horsepower, 258 foot-pounds of torque, and that is plenty for the European market. However, right here in North America, we're all used to seeing 300s and up for a car this size. So the big push with this car is looks. And that's primarily why someone will buy this vehicle, and that is for looks. I guess one of the issues with the Arteon, besides the car itself, is marketing. This car's not marketed well at all in North America, so really nobody knows about it, which is a direct correlation to sales numbers on the new side. However, a car like this is $55,000, but in 3 years will be worth $30,000, and for $30,000, it's a steal. So this Arteon is equipped as an R-Line version, and the R-Line gives you the bigger black 19-inch wheels, gives the R-Line badging, gives you a black headliner inside, and gives you this black, beautiful rear lip. One of the really neat things about this versus the A7 or any Audi counterpart is all the front radar detection systems are actually built in the Volkswagen emblem, which I really like, compared to the Audis, which have these police interceptor boxes essentially right here. This is a small piece, but I feel like Volkswagen really does cool products that don't sell. And one of that is this little piece here. It's like a front lip hood valance. The hood lash is also Audi-esque, as opposed to a clip here. Druck nicht often, nicht ich sinn. This is a German car, guys. This is not North American. So North American guys, if you expect a North American car of a German automobile, buy a different Volkswagen. All right, so some Audi design cues that I see right here in this Arteon is the shoulder line and the dynamic line. One pulls all the way from here to 3/4 down the end of the car, and the other follows all the way down right here through the emblem, all the way down, pulls in, just like the A5 Sportback, and on the front version, just like the A7. As the two lines change position, from the view from the rear of the car, you can see it really widens the car, and it gives it sort of a wide body look right in the tail end of it. Right, so when we get to the rear of the car, the first thing you'll notice is, hello Mercedes-Benz, because this thing looks like a C63 coupe. Mercedes-Benz. This is all Mercedes-Benz right here. Hello Tesla, check these wheels out. Another Audi feature, these doors. The trim and the extension and the door panel, frameless windows, A7, A5 Sportback, and handles. And how the door sounds actually. Opens, closes. Opens, closes. The back door, a little bit more Volkswagen. The front door, more Audi. Audi, Volkswagen. Finally, Volkswagen got something right and Audi didn't, and that's rear exhaust pipes. They actually work. In order to get into the trunk, this is the way it's done. Genius. Now this is totally height adjustable, just like the Audis. If you want to lower or raise it, you hit the button, you press the button down, it stops, and you hold that down, it'll make a noise, I'm assuming. There we go. That's Audi. Another piece that this car does better than the A7 or A5 Sportback is it's got an actual handle here. Both the Audis actually only have a scoop here. You'd have to reach your hand back in and pull down if you want to do it. Now I understand you have this automatic button. However, if you're going upward and you're about to hit something, you can stop it with this full out handle. I like how the software in terms of electronics happens, which pulls me from Audi again. The light goes off and these still stay on, instead of these staying on and those also staying on. Thinking. So Volkswagen had to cut costs somewhere compared to the A7, and that is done by this rear parcel shelf. They could have put a better quality parcel shelf. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, man, this thing is about up to $30,000 cheaper than the A7, but why do they do that and give you a full-size rim and tire. When was the last time a car manufacturer gave you a rim and tire on a car that you buy in 2020? Full size, matching powder coating. Huh. So I did this exact same test in an S5 Sportback, and this is quite a bit larger. So the comparisons with an A5 or an S5 Sportback are false. This is actually closer to an A7. It's actually 2 inches shorter than an A7, and that 2 inches is probably in the hood of an A7 and not the inside cabin of this Arteon. All right, so as I sit in the back of this Arteon, two things I notice. Definitely more legroom in the back than an A5 S5 Sportback. About the same as an A7, just about the same. The difference in the A7 is the seats are actually wider and thicker, have more padding to them. So it appears to be there's more room in this car. However, that's not exactly true. It's just because the seats are wider and thicker. In the A7, however, sitting back here, there's definitely a lot of legroom right here. There's a ton of legroom. Head height. This headliner isn't cut out like the A7. The A7 and A5 Sportback both have a little bit of indentation on both passenger and driver rear seats. However, this is just a flat, doesn't have the indentations that cut out. It is a full 5-seater. This does have a full pass-through in the back here where the rear cup holder comes down, and there is 2 decent-sized cup holders. They're not deep enough, but they work, and a center baby for a baby cup, I guess. Another Audi piece here is these are definitely from an A6, A7, because they even have the clicking noise and the exact same clicking noise as I push this forward here. That is from an Audi. This doesn't have rear USB ports or USB-Cs. However, just like some of the other Audis, you also have to go from the center console back with the long extension cord from Amazon. All right, so as I sit in this front passenger seat, it is a little bit wider. So although it's made in Europe, it's still wider than a conventional European car that has a little bit tighter seats. One of the other things I noticed is that this seat is similar to an S5 Sportback and not an A7 in the sense that it does have a massage feature, but that massage feature is simply the lumbar going back and forth. It's not a full shiatsu massage like an A6, A7, A8 upgraded seat that you can buy that is customizable in every single way. This one simply just has a lumbar that moves back and forth, but it's still considered massage. And it's only on the driver's side. In terms of the layout, the dash is beautiful. Volkswagen's done a great job making it feel prestige and quality. The steering wheel, like every other Volkswagen, is better than Audi, hands down, because it's smaller. So for a guy like me, I like a smaller steering wheel. I don't like to have a bigger steering wheel, so this is sporty, and it's taken from what looks to be the GTI. But on the other side, in terms of quality, first initial fit and finish is that shifter. The shifter is from a Tiguan, and it's from other products in their brand that they shouldn't really put in. They should pull that from Audi, because when you first sit in the car, people always grab the steering wheel and then put their elbow on an Audi product right here and put their hand here, and that's how it's done. So this is very Audi-ish. It actually doesn't have a stopper. When you put this back, the Audi doesn't actually hit and make that noise, but this does. It does have 5 settings. Let's test. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 settings. Beat ya. All right, so as I jump in this car, I notice there are 3 clocks. 2 digital, 1 on the virtual cockpit, 1 in the center, and an analog 1 up there. There are 2 USBs, 1 on the front for the passenger side or the driver's side, and 1 in the center console, which I assume is to put a plug here and dump it in the center console. But that's probably going to be used for the people in the back. So you plug it in, slide to the back, and lights will switch off automatically in 30 minutes. Wow, 30 minutes to keep the lights on? Whew, that's a long time, Volkswagen. Another Audi piece I found here, this is from a Q3, and that is automatic parking, and a Q7. Hit the automatic parking button, which is up here, and it automatically parks for you. And the second thing, which gets a lot of hate on the internet, is why is a heated steering wheel button right here? Shouldn't it be here somewhere? Shouldn't it be in the back of the steering wheel? Shouldn't there be a button here? Why do I have to reach my hand all the way here to get the heated steering wheel button? And as Doug DeMoro said, these buttons up here should really be down here. There's no point pushing this button here, the parking button, and the camera button all the way up here when I can simply just press it here. So in the center display here, I really like how everything is really displayed really clean. The quality of this display is phenomenal. It's very, very, very clean. Some of the data it gives you is kind of redundant. We really don't need kilowatt. We're not in that space at the moment, especially when you want people to stay away from understanding how much power this engine has, because the dog on it is the speed and the performance of it in North America. So really highlighting that doesn't really make any sense. But I do really like where the synths start. You know, the picture of the Passat, or I guess, yeah, no, well, it looks like an Arteon. This Think Blue Trainer, that's really to detect how how much distance you can get, and how to keep it as efficient as possible, because we're trying to think blue here. Another feature I like is when you open and close the door, you can actually see each door close and open. And when I shut the car off, it'll actually tell you what door is locked and unlocked, which is really a nice feature. See, there it is. The door is open. And if I open the front door, that opens as well. That's really nice to see. All right, so we're inside this Arteon. We're gonna take it for a drive here now. Let's start it up. The start engine button is smaller than the Audi. It's about half the size, about the size of a penny as opposed to the size of a loonie/quarter. Seatbelt feels a little bit skinnier than the Audi, but seats are comfortable. Frameless mirror, I like that piece. People were saying that it feels congested and claustrophobic a little bit because the headliner's black, and that's only because this is an R-Line. Most models don't have a black headliner, so it's not going to feel as claustrophobic in the car. So if you like a sporty version of the car, then get the R-Line. If you don't like the sporty version, then just get the regular line and you'll feel not as claustrophobic. You can't get both. You can't get a black headliner with a non-sporty version. It's either sporty and black headliner or non-sporty and beige or cream headliner, depending on the interior you pick. All right, so let's take this Tiguan shifter and put this puppy in drive, and then hold on to my GTI steering wheel, and let's go. Pedal feel, well, yeah, there's some, I'm pressing the pedal about, it's less than a quarter, and I've got enough pep to get me going. Don't think I need to press anything more on that. Indicator feels good. You hear that usual Volkswagen 2-liter whine, which you can get in an A3 and a Q5 and a Q3 as well. The Q3 is fairly loud compared to a Q5, and this would probably range somewhere, give it a couple seconds, I'll tell you. I like the way the mirrors are positioned. So now the mirrors are not positioned on the inside of the door panel, they're actually positioned on the side of the door. So, you know, a little triangle that sits on the corner of the window in the front A-pillar, it's not there anymore. They've sort of moved it down on the actual panel now. So it gives me a wider stance, and I can kind of see in between. So when I'm making a left turn and this pedestrian's walking, I don't have any blind spots. So I like what they did. I like that the A-pillar is really short and tight, so it's not bulky and I don't have any blind spots. But this is a huge front window. This window is just a lot of visibility. Back window is also good. That probably has to do with the frameless windows. It's got a really short dash. Some of the Audis have longer dashes, so it feels like I'm tighter, if that makes any sense. Another Audi piece as well, just like the Cross Sport with the R-Line, these pedals are 100% Audi. Through and through, these pedals are Audi. So you look at them, they're Audi. This is an R-Line, so this is their sportiest version, and this definitely feels softer than an A5 Sportback, and definitely feels about the same as an A7. The A7 has a little bit more weight to it, so you can feel the weight in the car. But this is very close to an A7 in terms of drive feel. It's definitely not an A5 in terms of drive feel. So if you're getting it, if you drive an A5 or you currently have an A5 Sportback, this is not an A5 Sportback. This is definitely closer to an A7 in terms of ride feel. It's very soft. So I'm going to switch it to dynamic, or let's see what they call this here in a Volkswagen. They call it, I notice as I look down, the silver frame around the gear shifter really reflects the sun, and it's actually hurting my eyes to press the mode button. Okay, eco, comfort, normal, sport, and custom. So let's hit the custom adjust button, and wow, there are lots of different modes. You can slide this thing from left to the right. So I'll put in the far right, which is as aggressive as it can possibly be. And let's see how the suspension acts, because this does have damping suspension. So yeah, it tightens up. So there we go. So that is, yeah, that feel is definitely like an A5 Sportback now. Still a little bit softer, even in the dynamic, or in the sport version they call it. Brake feel is good. As I let go of, for the Audi drivers out there, as soon as you let go of the brake, you hear this little noise, it's like the vacuum's been pulled from it. It's the exact same feel in this car. My pedal and brake feel are very, very similar to the Audis. There's a lot of hate out there for the 2-liter. In regular traffic, I don't notice any difference. Actually, the 2-liter is probably better because it's boosted. So the push is there. As soon as I touch the accelerator, there's a little bit of a push, which you don't have in the 6 that they make. The 6, you kind of have to get on it a little bit for it to give you that torque, but this thing has enough torque that I just touch it and I get that push. So I get it. Probably I haven't done the acceleration test yet, but as soon as I get into that, obviously it's going to feel a bit underwhelming, as all the other reviewers have said. But in terms of day-to-day traffic, it's plenty. So on the paddle shifters on this car, instead of, you could theoretically just move it to the right, the gear shifter to the right, and then it forces you in the manual gearbox. But if you use the paddle shifters, it's got another thing that I've noticed, and next to the plus sign has an off. So if I use the paddles and I go down a couple gears, and if I want to stop it, I can go up a gear, or I can just hold the plus button down and then it goes back into S or D, whichever mode you had it in. But this, I don't know, I feel like car manufacturers should just make a decision and stop putting flappy paddle gearboxes on anything that doesn't have a sequential gearbox. Any 8-speed, any 7-speed, any 6-speed regular Tiptronic transmissions should not have flappy paddle gearboxes. They're just not practical. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you use the plus and minus? It's not like you're trying to hold the gear. You're not trying to get up this hill. Those days are done. The gearboxes are good enough today that they will get you up any hill. But you use the paddle shifters to hold the gear, and you hold it, and when you hit the plus button, you want that shift accurate, tight, and as sharp as you can get. And in my opinion, that really only happens with sequential gearboxes. It doesn't happen with these 8-speed transmission gearboxes. And I know they've come a long way, and I know they're almost as close, but they're not the same. What do you guys think? All right, so my foot is to the ground here. And so nowadays when we test drive cars and you go to a dealer and you're watching YouTube videos and you kind of get everybody's impression of how different cars drive and stuff like that, it's really hard to know how a car drives when you drive it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes with the salesperson sitting next to you. So these videos really do help. So it really depends on your driving habits, and this specific car does really well, I think, excelling at regular day-to-day traffic, because you got the space, you got the height, it's sporty, it looks beautiful. How many people have actually heard of Arteon before these videos? Like, are you guys familiar? There's a Volkswagen Arteon out there, because I've run into about 15 people today, and 12 of them had no idea what an Arteon was, and the other 3 are part of my team. So I'm going to do a rolling start here, and we're doing about 10 miles an hour, and I'll pin it, and it's plenty. I mean, do you need 350 horsepower? You could use it, but do you need it is a different question. This is plenty. And remember, people buying this car are not buying this as their first car. They're buying this as their 7th, 8th, 10th car. You don't wake up, get your driver's license and think, man, I want to buy a Volkswagen Arteon. No. So the buyer of this car is actually looking for something spacious, luxury, priced well, and has a style. And this car does it. In terms of acoustics and sound, how does a cabin sound compared to an A7? Now, it's a stupid question because obviously the A7 is more money. I get it. But just the design of these cars make it harder for engineers to create something that's actually quieter than a 4-door typical sedan. And that's because we've got the trunk that's totally open and only basically protected by that cover I showed you earlier. And with the frameless windows. So you've got frameless windows working against you and the design of the car. Not to mention the 19-inch wheels. All that stuff does hurt the sound of the car in terms of cabin quietness. It's not too bad, to be honest. I can have a conversation with people in the back. I don't have to yell. Is it super silent? No. Is it Audi silent? No. However, it's enough that you can hear the road noise, that it makes you feel involved in the car, and that's what you want. You don't really want to have a quiet, silent car. And that, to be honest, in the last 5 years with Audi, they've really silenced some of their cars, and they've gone away from that. I wouldn't say purebred, because we're not talking BMW here, but I would say that it's just got a little quieter and a little bit more fake. I mean, and that's sometimes, that really started with the S3 in terms of plumbing sound in. So some of those things just have changed and evolved the way the car manufacturers have built cars. But in terms of sound in this car, it is pretty quiet when you want it to be quiet, and it's loud, loudish when you don't want it to be loud. Quiet, loud, quiet. It's good. I'm good with it. That's strange. So the inside of these door panels have carpet. Carpet on the inside of the door panel? That's news to me. All right guys, thanks for watching my video on this Arteon supplied by Dalmar Motors right here in London. So this Arteon is Volkswagen's flagship vehicle. Now compared to their last flagship vehicle, the Phaeton, they lost their shirt. Hopefully when you go shopping for an Arteon, you won't lose yours either. All right guys, so make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, do whatever you can to sub. I've got over 1.5 million views and only 5,000 subs. That's a problem. You guys must hate me. So don't forget, subscribe, please. And don't forget to smash that like button. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.